one thing led to another and it went left. But I'm quite sure it was accidental. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, he loved her just like she loved him. But I mean, it's tough love out here.
In the shadowy corners of Maryland, a harrowing tale of tragedy unfolds, a tale that shrouds its victim, 33-year-old Shanlette Lewis, in anonymity. Her identity remained veiled in the heart-wrenching aftermath of a life brutally extinguished by a hand she once trusted, a hand belonging to her own cousin. The chilling sentencing that followed has left a community seething with anger, mired in sorrow, and grappling with the unrelenting darkness of domestic violence and femicide. Welcome to American Crime, Femicide Channel. Please like, subscribe, share, and hit the notification for future uploads. In the eerie shadows of North Curley Street in East Baltimore, a sinister plot unfolded. Police were summoned to a house tainted by darkness, responding to a chilling report of an assault. As they breached the threshold, what they discovered was a scene right out of a nightmare. There, at the very entrance, lay Shanlette Lewis, her lifeblood pooling beneath her in a grotesque tableau of violence. A 33-year-old woman, her vibrant existence now extinguished, cruelly snuffed out within the very walls that were meant to provide solace and security. 2 days later, Shanlette succumbed to the horrors inflicted upon her, leaving behind a wake of questions and a trail of torment. The perpetrator? None other than her own cousin, Demetrick Lewis, aged 31, a name now forever intertwined with the macabre tapestry of this tragedy. As the tale unraveled, a family member chose to remain cloaked in anonymity, their voice trembling with the weight of a double tragedy. But what unfurled within their family was not simply a horrific accident, it was an intentional act of brutality.
Shared the same last name, the same bloodline, and now the same headlines after police say that an East Baltimore man murdered his cousin by pushing her down a flight of stairs. WMER 2 News' Jeff Hager has more on this story for us tonight.
When police entered this house on North Curley Street for a report of an assault, they discovered 33-year-old Shanlette Lewis laying in a pool of blood inside her front door. She died from her injuries 2 days later, and now her cousin, 31-year-old Demetrick Lewis, faces charges in her death. One of her family members, who did not wish to be identified, spoke to us of this double tragedy.
She was a good spirit. She was a good person. She ain't deserve it. She ain't deserve it. I mean, little argument. This is a big loss for the family. I mean, it's two losses: a death and a life that's thrown away. I mean, because he ain't think.
According to charging documents, Lewis got into an argument with his cousin, threatened her, and then pushed her down the stairs to the basement, where she hit her head on the concrete floor. Allegedly, he then carried her upstairs, grabbed her by the shirt, and dragged her through the kitchen and living room, leaving her by the front door. He then fled from the home before police arrived, and 2 days later, she died from her injury. Demetrick Lewis is now being held on a first and second-degree murder charge, but his family isn't convinced that he meant to kill his cousin.
It was just a heated argument that one thing led to another and it went left. But I'm quite sure it was accidental. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, he loved her just like she loved him. But I mean, it's tough love out here.
Behind the sorrowful facade, the chilling truth came to light. Charging documents painted a damning portrait of Demetrick, revealing a gruesome sequence of events that belied any notion of accident. An argument, a threat, and then, with cold calculation, a violent push that sent Shanlette tumbling down the stairs, her skull meeting the unyielding concrete floor below. But the nightmare didn't end there. Allegedly, Lewis callously dragged her lifeless body through the once familiar spaces of their shared existence, the kitchen, the living room, before leaving her discarded by the front door. His escape, an act of cowardice that further stained the house with the darkness of his deeds. Lewis now finds himself ensnared in the cold, unyielding grasp of justice, held on charges of first and second-degree murder. Hauntingly, within the family's fractured circle, doubt lingers like a specter. They ponder whether he truly intended to snuff out Shanlette's light. People claiming to be related to both family members have left comments under the news reports on Facebook. On February 14, 2023, the courtroom was fraught with tension as opening statements were made. The assistant state's attorney recounted the disturbing events leading to the tragic demise of Shanlette Lewis. Demetrick Lewis stood accused of pushing Shanlette down the basement steps during a heated argument, resulting in her sustaining fatal head and neck injuries. Yet, as the defense reminded the jury, death does not inherently equate to murder. The jury's verdict on February 16 would send shockwaves: guilty of manslaughter, but acquitted of first- and second-degree murder. The prosecution's narrative painted a chilling picture of February 1, 2022, when tempers flared between Shanlette and her cousin. An act as simple as spitting in her cousin's face ignited a horrifying chain of events. Demetrick allegedly pushed her down the stairs, leading to severe head and neck injuries, ultimately claiming Shanlette's life 2 agonizing days later. Demetrick's defense attorney, Patterson, dissected the prosecution's case, exposing inconsistencies in the testimony, particularly that of an 11-year-old cousin. He underscored how the police and prosecution allegedly coerced the witness, pointing out discrepancies like the use of the term forced and contradictions regarding how the victim's injuries were sustained. Then, on February 17, 2023, came the shocking sentencing. Judge Bryant, taking into account Demetrick's history of abusive behavior towards women, handed down a sentence that left the courtroom aghast: 9 years, with all but 5 years suspended, plus an additional 5 years of supervised probation. Demetrick was also mandated to complete an anger management course and a mental health evaluation. In this chilling courtroom drama, Shanlette's family grappled with anger and grief. Her sister, present in court, yearned for an apology while acknowledging that forgiveness was beyond her grasp. Other family members expressed their fears of Demetrick's potential for further violence, citing a history of abuse, even towards his own daughter. Demetrick's final words described the incident as a freakish accident, with unintended consequences, a stark contrast to the somber and shocking proceedings. This case serves as a grim reminder of the pressing necessity to reconsider criminal justice reform, bail discussions, and the prospect of longer sentences for violent repeat offenders. Some have questioned how Demetrick managed to secure legal representation, a haunting thought amidst this tragedy. While it can never bring Shanlette back, it compels the Black community, especially Black women, to assess the detrimental and lethal consequences that criminal justice reform may pose. Shanlette deserved justice. Rest in peace, Shanlette Lewis.